Nice to meet you today, Tangerine.
Thank you.
Weather's lovely, as are you. So what exactly is Expo Village? And be honest, does the E stand for emotional damage?
Expo Village is a small group of 12-year-olds who rustically live together. They go sleepouts, they run on chaos.
No doubt, Lit. You're leading 12-year-olds. What exactly are your qualifications, besides of course being slightly taller?
Honestly, I'm not too sure.
Your Expo schedule looks ambitious.
Planned fun and last-minute panic. But if we're going to end up throwing water balloons at each other and call it team bonding, so be it.
To follow on, do you want to share any of these activities?
Assuming the weather doesn't ruin everything and the campers don't actually start rebelling against me, well, I have some really fun stuff planned, such as there's sunset paddleboarding, there's going to be a lot of campfires, there'll be a lot of massive water war tournaments between each other, and there's too many themed events. I don't really want to go into too much detail yet, So if half of it works, it's a win. So you were the worst counselor last summer and you got exiled to Expo. Can you tell us a little bit more on your downward spiral, please?
I think that me and instability are kind of like chalk and cheese, really.
So you spent several weeks in Expo. How many of those were you actually emotionally present?
I kind of cut off after speaking to the kids for the first time. They really did suck. Best days ever were the ones where I fell asleep and didn't wake up.
How did Expo change you?
Well, to use the metaphor, I started off as a pencil and by the end I was just a rubber.
So last question, would you ever work for Expo again?
I think I'd have to say that the only way to get me back into Expo would be to hunt me down and tie me up and drag me back through the mud.
So Paddy, I'm glad to have you here today. It's nice to meet you. So how did Expo change your behavior? Did it actually change your caffeine intake and the ability to scream on the inside?
I was not a caffeine drinker. It definitely upped my caffeine intake.
Cool. When did Expo stop being a job, and when did start being part of the weird family you just had to be a part of?
It stopped being a job when I left.
Well, would you say Expo changed you?
It definitely changed me emotionally. Next question, please.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll make this the last one. Would you ever work for Expo again?
No.
Say
Everybody
yes.
come to Pio!
No. Goblin Giant, nice to meet you. So, what is your favorite Expo memory, and is it medically classified?
It's probably flight night. I mean, that was just pretty fire.
Let's be real. Would you do Expo again? And if you say no, I'm gonna come for you.
I would do it if I wasn't in Hudson.
What's bad about Hudson? Just remember,
It's very hot.
You.
It's very hot in Hudson. But I mean, that's
Don't lie.
okay.
Do you miss Expo? Oh wait, is that something you talk about in therapy?
Some of the campers maybe, but not the village.
Would you say Expo changed you, or did it just weigh you down to be like a new person?
It definitely wore me down.
Yeah. Would you ever work for Expo again?
Yeah, with you as village leader. For sure.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. You had one job. Do you remember what it actually was? Or are you still figuring it out,
Yeah, I don't know. Everything all at once. It's crazy.
As someone who lost the entire cabin during a transition, how did the Expo prepare you for failure?
Oh, lots of practice, lots of failure, lots of practice.
So you spent several weeks in Expo. How many of those weeks were you actually emotionally present?
Oh, half of one.
You better get your act together. Do you miss Expo, or is that just something you also talk about in therapy? She has contacted me a lot.
Yeah.
You need a lot of therapy after
Yeah.
last summer. But we don't talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
How did Expo stop being a job and, start just becoming part of the weirdest family you were just put into?
In a real job, you get to go home. This never stops.
Don't tell them that. Last question. Would you ever work for Expo again? Just remember, I know where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
I'll come back.
Yeah, good.
I'll come
good,
back.
Good. So nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Ace.
Tangerine.
Nice. So, as a village leader last year, how did Expo change you? Besides, the caffeine intake and the ability to scream on the inside.
Probably the lack of sleep. Also having to deal with the specific people that were in that village.
Was there a moment, maybe just one where you thought this is kind of the best thing ever? I remember you said that last year, right?
It was the best thing ever. I said that publicly. Let's note that the fires were really great. Not the ones that I had to put out, but the ones that we got to participate in together within the first 30 seconds.
So what made you say yes to being leading Expo? Was it just bravery, poor judgment, or the fact that no one else volunteered?
Lack of common sense.
Good. Would you ever work for Expo again?
In a heartbeat.
Thank you. Thank you. So, nice to meet you. You had one job. Do you actually remember what it was, or are you still figuring that out? So, okay, I'll move on.
Yep.
Do you miss Expo, or is that something you talk about in therapy?
No, I really miss Expo.
I'm glad, you know, I'm happy you're back. So when did Expo stop being a job and, you know, start being the weirdest family you kind of had?
Like straight away.
Last question, would you work for Expo again?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, thank you. Well, as last summer's best Expo Village counsellor, I wanted to ask you something really genuine. Sam, do you ever just wake up and still feel like you're in Expo? Or does Expo still live with you even after the summer?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Beans. I think that you should take a really long, hard look at yourself and figure out whatever's going on, because I have absolutely zero clue what you're talking about right now, mate.